Dispatch, Engine 38.
Engine 38.
Out of service for Hazmat changeover.
The Hazmat and Engine 38 out of service for changeover 714.
We are going to be taking all of the equipment that we currently carry on what we call the hammer, or the Hazardous Materials Response rig, and we are going to be moving out of that rig and into our brand new truck that we have set behind us here. And once we've made that switch, this will be the new Hazmat 38. The truck that we're switching out of is going to go down to our fleet shops so that it can get some routine maintenance done on it. And then our Hazmat 17 is going to be switching out of their box truck and into our older rig. Most fire apparatus, you're moving like inventory. Obviously, we have a lot of hoses that we carry on those trucks and tools and equipment. This particular piece of equipment has a lot of technical powered equipment, and all of them have to be calibrated and moved over. So not only do we have to move over all the equipment that we have, but we also have to move over our computer systems, all of our monitoring and metering capabilities, and all of that has to be done as soon as possible because we're kind of out of service until that gets moved. So it's a multi-tier move.
Oil dry is in that far back right, so maybe these are containers for liquids. So
yeah, I'm anticipating we'll probably be out of service for 4 hours. So we're scheduled to be out of service from 7 o'clock this morning when we came in on our shift until noon, and that should give us enough time to get all of our equipment moved over, and then that will allow us to move over everything, so at least we're in service. Things they're not gonna stay where they're at. We're probably gonna fix it and make it perfect, but it'll at least be able to be in service by noon.
this is kind of all fluid cleanup stuff, if it could all be in the same place. So.
I chose today just because all the planets kind of aligned where we could be out of service. We had 17s that could remain in service, and we didn't have anything on our training calendar. So the weather was nice, so we figured with all those things coming into play, we figured today would be a nice slow day that we could kind of mix that over and make all these things come together. Typically, we're probably going out 2 or 3 times a week is all we go out on a normal response. So 2 or 3 times a week, and that's between the 3 shifts. Sometimes busier, sometimes less, but that's kind of an average of what we respond on.
Engine 33.
Can you get me a ops channel and start Hazmat for a unknown substance that could possibly be radioactive?
4-vehicle crash, 1 vehicle versus the retaining wall, the white truck, unknown other vehicles. You can see them on the CDOT cameras. Looks like there is an unknown ambulance on scene. There is debris also blocking. Looks like they're blocking the 1, 2, and 3 lanes.
This is probably carrying, probably a truck that was carrying either medical grade or
yeah, we're working with Lone Tree about
smoke
getting
detectors.
this express lane shut down.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have
And
Hazmat
8 is
come in from the eastbound lane to help shut it down as well.
Background.
So they've got a car accident on the highway, and the guy that was driving the car had a radiation sensor in there because they're doing like excavation and stuff. So they think that it may have been broken or cracked. So they're going to get on scene and find out. I don't think it is. Those things are built really well to hold that, but they're going to go get on scene and find out.
And they get back in service and respond as well.
Copy, will contact 38. Tell them to get back in service and have them respond at 854.
Engine 38, this is Chris. Yeah, we have, and we'll head that way. All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. All right, we're headed that way. Well, there goes our plan. So the plan for a nice, easy day to move over everything is great. Now we're going to head out on a hazmat call.
Hazmat 38, MVA with unknown injuries, map page V28A at C470 westbound east of Quebec, C470 westbound east of Quebec.
All crews on scene of 470. Let's keep everybody away about 300 feet from the radioactive material and move all civilians away.
We'll have Hazmat come in from the eastbound lanes and help shut it down as well.
We'll be defensive till Hazmat gets here, setting up the hot zone.
You'll be offensive, so Hazmat arrives, setting up the hot zone at 901.
Copy. Since Hazmat 38 gets here, have them approach from the west, position with us.
Okay, copy. Let Hazmat 38 approach from the west and stage next to you.
Hazmat 38 copies direct approach from the west. Parked by 17.
So this call is we're getting it that it was a radiation device that was involved in an accident being carried by a truck. This type of device is usually used when they're doing soil research and they're going through and when they have the operators that are out there. Generally they're pretty custom to use this type of equipment in the field, but it's not designed to be in an accident. So it looks like it was jettisoned from the vehicle that was responding in. So I have a feeling this is going to mess up our day. Planned on possibly having to run a call even though we were out of service. So the last thing we decided to transition in the switch was our monitoring and metering equipment. And so that was still on our current rig, the one that we were switching out of.
I'm going to keep you guys in place right now in case something changes, but per Hazmat, as long as you get hold of the carrier, this should be as simple as almost putting it back in the box, putting it in the truck, and then they'll work through those processes through like Department of Energy and stuff as far as disposal and that. So
we had only started the changeover when that call dropped.
Command and copy, you're working to contact the carrier to see what repackaging and removing. You have highway lane shut down both directions and you're in unified command.
Hazmat from Safety 18. The state just went over there and checked. Both vehicles are just background, so they're good to be towed.
You know, that's part of being a firefighter is, you know, we always say everything's in chalk. So, you know, there's days where we can get caught up on some things and we can, you know, get caught up on our emails and training and other things like that. And then there's days where it just does not line up to anything that you wanted. And it's tough, but, you know, at the end of the day, this is what we got to do and we'll just keep working until the job's finished.
Just sent out a hazmat investigation at the Hobby Lobby in Parker.
As we were leaving that hazmat call, we ran in and we got assigned to another hazmat call.
Yeah, we're cutting 38's loose here. 38 command, you copy direct. Hazmat command.
Hazmat 38, Hazmat investigation.
Closing the loop, we're headed to the call in Parker. We'll be moving over to...
RP is reporting about a 4x4 plastic container leaking a dark-colored, oily substance.
We have a small 250-gallon tote. It does appear to be leaking dark-colored fluid. Engine 41 will be investigating. We have the area somewhat cordoned off. We'll be working on isolation as well.
Back-to-back hazmat calls, that never happens, so surprising. Of course it happened today.
So right now we have a developer that was building a building over here, had left this intermobile with some used motor oil in it, and I think they forgot about it, and early this morning, somebody came in and pulled the ball valve and actually opened it at the bottom of the tank. So all that used motor oil just purged out over here until it was empty. So now what we're doing is we're working with the fire marshal's office to come in and work through what we call the DARA process. And that is basically to make sure that we have a contractor that can come out, clean up the oil, make sure this parking lot is being able to use. And then the owner of the property, in this case the intermobile, will be responsible for making sure that all gets taken care of. That will be the last call for Hammer 3, and here it goes. It was on the last day during the changeover.
Dispatch, Hazmat 38.
Hazmat 38.
If you can show Hazmat 38 in service from this call, out of service for changeover.
Copy, Hazmat 38 in service from the call, out of service for changeover 11:05.
And we're back to being out of service, so instead of being done at noon, we're probably looking at about 6 p.m. tonight being done and having this rig operational. These are what we call like our frontline hazmat response units. So they're cross-staffed. So we've got firefighters that ride on fire trucks, and we have a medic unit at 17. So, you know, our primary duty is responding to fires and medical car accidents and the like. When we get those calls that come in as a specialized hazmat response, that's when those units get dispatched. So usually they're not nearly as busy as our frontline suppression apparatus. Those are more of support vehicles for specialized hazmat response.
These are our meters, so every single one of them is labeled. So this one happens to be a fire gas gamma. So they're very much like the ones we have for our engines and trucks, just a little more specialized.
The reason that we switched into the new hazmat rig that we have is because the capabilities that this new apparatus offers us is just night and day different than what we've had in the past. The rig was actually put into service 20 years ago.
I'm thinking boots we could put down below.
And 20 years ago, it worked perfectly for hazmat calls the way we ran a hazmat incident. Now, with the changes to NFPA and the requirements that they have for hazmat response and the way that South Metro operates at these type of incidents, we've become a lot more technical in our abilities and how we operate in a scene. So we really needed to have basically a command post that we could take to a scene, and we could monitor the weather, we could monitor the crews that are operating in the scene, we can monitor the atmosphere. We have all of those capabilities, and we just didn't have the right apparatus that could actually allow us to do that. So this new vehicle that we have basically is a moving fortress.
It's our entry kit. We take in on hazmats if we're going to collect a sample or something like that. Lots of equipment for picking stuff up and kind of storing it. Or we're going to put it on this rig. I don't know. Here. Go down.
Set up like an office so that we can do all those functions simultaneously, and we can project all that information outside on the truck. So if anyone wants to know what's going on with our weather, our atmosphere, what the crews are doing as they're working on that incident, it's all there in real time. As a resident who pays taxes, myself, like everybody else, you want to make sure that those tax dollars are used efficiently and effectively. And we were able to get this vehicle for a price that had already been predetermined for the replacement of this vehicle, and we were under budget. And I think we over-delivered on the product because we're really happy with what we have. But really at the end of the day, the amount of information that we can take in and the amount of information that we can put out on an incident is literally night and day. There's nothing like it right now that I'm aware of in the state. So this will just make it to when we're on any of these hazardous materials events, and those can include large fires. They're not just spills and leaks, but when we have these type of incidents, we're going to be able to show up with the latest equipment that's out there, with the best technology, so that we can make decisions in real time. And before that just wasn't possible for us.
Dispatch, Hazmat 38.
But we will be retiring Hazmat 38 in Unit 3334 and putting into service new Hazmat 38 in Unit number 3396.
Thank you, 1553.
That's the day in the life in the fire service.